Captain Ethan Drake sat in the High Council chamber, his fingers resting lightly on the polished surface of the conference table. The room buzzed with voices from all corners of the galaxy. He had been called to this meeting to represent Earth, but the members of the Galactic Council didn't seem to take the human race seriously. For centuries, Earth had been seen as a backwater planet, a world struggling to catch up with the other more advanced civilizations scattered across the stars. Today, the Council's arrogance was unbearable. He listened to the leaders of alien empires, species that had mastered the secrets of the universe, sneer at humanity's pathetic attempts to join the galactic community. The words echoed in his mind, mocking his home, his people, and everything he fought for. Earth's fleet. The speaker, a towering reptilian creature, scoffed. Pathetic. A joke. They barely know how to navigate their own solar system, let alone venture into the galaxy. Another voice chimed in, this time from a shimmering being made of pure energy, its form shifting constantly. They call themselves the human race, but they have no advanced technology, no weapons of consequence. They are nothing but ants trying to play with lions. A chill ran down Captain Drake's spine. These were the highest minds in the galaxy, and they were mocking his home. He clenched his fists, trying to maintain his composure. It wasn't the first time he had heard such words, but the weight of their disdain felt heavier today. The rest of the council laughed, their voices blending into a chorus of ridicule. They discussed Earth's lack of military power, their outdated ships, and the pitiful attempts humanity had made to explore the stars. Every word stung. But in the pit of his stomach, Ethan felt something stronger than anger: determination. He knew that humanity had something these alien civilizations didn't expect, something they couldn't comprehend. He remembered the stories his grandfather used to tell him about Earth's past, the rise of humanity from primitive beginnings to becoming a force that no one could ignore. They might be small, and their ships might seem outdated to the galaxy's elites, but Earth had an edge no one understood yet: the fighting spirit that burned in every human heart, the will to survive. Let's move on. The council leader, a hulking insectoid known as Zarnok, said, slamming a large claw on the table. The humans will never be a threat to us. We have more pressing matters to attend to. Perhaps we should discuss the next phase of our plans to eradicate the Death Worlds. Ethan couldn't stand it any longer. The insults, the laughter, it felt like a slap in the face to everything he believed in. He stood up sharply, his chair scraping loudly against the stone floor. All eyes turned to him, and for a moment there was silence. He was a human, one of the so-called pathetic species, standing before the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The arrogance in their eyes was almost palpable. "I've had enough," Ethan said, his voice steady but filled with an edge of defiance. "You think our ships are weak. You mock our race because we haven't conquered the stars like you. You're wrong. You've underestimated us." A murmur rippled through the council as they exchanged curious glances. Ethan felt the weight of their gazes, but he refused to back down. "Do you know why humanity has survived all these years?" he continued, his voice gaining strength. "It's not because we have the biggest weapons, the most advanced technology, or the largest fleets. It's because we have something you'll never understand. We fight, no matter what. We survive. And we learn. You may see us as weak, but you haven't seen what we can really do. Not yet." The room was quiet, the members of the council unsure of how to respond. Ethan stood tall, refusing to show any sign of hesitation. He knew that words alone wouldn't prove anything. The council would never believe him unless they saw it for themselves. But how could he make them understand? How could he show them that Earth wasn't the fragile, defenseless planet they thought it was? Before he could continue, a sudden alarm blared through the room, cutting him off. The council members shifted in their seats, their attention now focused on the holographic display that flickered to life in front of them. A red dot appeared on the screen, Earth's location in the galaxy, and surrounding it were dozens of unknown ships, all converging on the planet. A ripple of tension passed through the room. The aliens had detected a strange anomaly coming from Earth, a powerful, ancient signal emanating from deep within the solar system. At first, it had been dismissed as a fluke, a glitch in their scanners. But now, it seemed that something was happening on Earth, a disturbance, a hidden force awakening, something they couldn't explain. Ethan felt his heart race. He knew what it was. The fleet, humanity's ancient fleet, the one that had been lost for centuries, a relic from Earth's earliest days of space exploration. Few humans even remembered its existence, let alone its power. But Captain Drake knew better. He knew that Earth had a hidden legacy, one far older and more advanced than the Galactic Council could imagine. Without a word, Ethan turned and left the council chamber, his mind racing. He had to act fast. He had to get back to Earth and prepare for what was coming. The mockery might have been the spark, but now there was something much bigger at play. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity's pathetic fleet was far more dangerous than anyone could have guessed. As he boarded his ship, Ethan's thoughts were clear. The Galactic Council had just made a fatal mistake. They had underestimated Earth, and they were about to learn just how wrong they were. Captain Ethan Drake's mind raced as his ship cut through the stars, heading back toward Earth. He couldn't shake the memory of the Galactic Council's mocking voices still echoing in his mind. Their laughter, their belief that humanity was no more than a speck in the galaxy, a tiny, insignificant world. It angered him. But deep down, he knew something they didn't. Something far more important than the ridicule they'd thrown at Earth. His ship streaked through space at top speed, the engines humming steadily as the distance between Earth and his ship slowly closed. But his thoughts weren't on the Council anymore. He had a bigger task at hand. The ancient fleet. It had been a myth for generations, a story whispered among the elders, long forgotten by most. But now, it was real. The fleet that had been lost to the depths of time had been found, and it was humanity's best hope. Ethan leaned forward in his seat, the soft glow of the controls illuminating his face. His mind was already on what awaited him back home. Earth wasn't ready for this. No one knew about the fleet. Only a select few had ever heard the tales, and even fewer knew where to look. The ancient fleet was buried on a remote planet, hidden away in the farthest reaches of the solar system. But Ethan had studied those old stories, the ones passed down through generations. He knew where to find it. Hours passed in silence as Ethan's ship approached the edge of the solar system. As he neared the coordinates he'd been given, he felt the weight of what he was about to uncover. The fleet wasn't just a collection of old ships. It was something much more. The records he'd read described it as humanity's first attempt to reach the stars, launched long before the Earth's current generation of ships. These were vessels designed for a time when Earth was a different place, one that hadn't yet learned how to fight back against the dangers of the universe. The coordinates led him to a small, barren moon orbiting an uncharted planet, its surface cracked and lifeless. The moon had been overlooked for centuries, its presence unnoticed by the Galactic Council and the rest of the galaxy. It was the perfect hiding spot. Ethan's ship entered the moon's orbit and slowly descended toward the surface. As he prepared for landing, he couldn't help but think of the significance of this place. This was the birthplace of Earth's forgotten legacy, a history that could change everything. He had a feeling that the fleet wasn't just buried here. It was waiting, dormant, and ready to awaken. The ship touched down with a soft thud, the engine's hum fading as the door to the cockpit opened. Ethan stepped out, his boots making a soft, crunching sound on the moon's dusty surface. The air was thin, and the sky was a pale shade of purple, the result of the planet's weak atmosphere. But it didn't matter. His mission was clear, and the next steps were crucial. He glanced at his datapad, scanning the map he'd retrieved from Earth's ancient archives. The coordinates matched, and what lay ahead was the entrance to something far larger than anything he had ever seen. He was standing at the edge of history itself. The entrance to the hidden fleet was well hidden, a series of caves that led deep into the moon's crust. The entrance was sealed, a series of ancient locks and security systems in place, designed to keep out anyone who wasn't meant to find it. But Ethan wasn't about to be stopped by old technology. He had spent years studying Earth's ancient military tech, and he knew how to crack the codes. Working quickly, he input the codes, and with a low grinding sound, the massive doors began to open. Inside was a vast hangar, more like a vault, and it was filled with ships. But these weren't the sleek, modern warships that Earth's Navy currently used. No, these were relics. Massive, intimidating machines, built for a different time. As Ethan stepped deeper into the hangar, his heart skipped a beat. The ships were unlike anything he had ever seen. They were larger, more powerful, and clearly designed for interstellar warfare. Their surfaces were covered in battle scars, evidence of the fierce battles they had fought long ago. Their weapons were powerful, their engines designed for speeds that could only be dreamt of in the present. These ships were not from the age of Earth's current understanding of space travel. They were ancient, their technology far beyond anything the Galactic Council had ever encountered. Ethan slowly walked among the ships, taking in the vastness of the fleet. It was a marvel, a testament to humanity's ingenuity. These were the ships that had once carried the bravest of Earth's explorers to the farthest reaches of space, and now they were ready to be brought back to life. He reached out and ran his hand over the surface of one of the ships. The cool metal felt smooth under his fingertips, and for a moment, he could almost feel the presence of the men and women who had built this fleet, the sacrifices they had made, the dreams they had held of a future beyond Earth's atmosphere. It was all here, in the silent, dormant ships waiting for someone to breathe life back into them. Ethan could hear the soft hum of the ship's dormant systems beginning to power up. The ancient fleet was waking up. Suddenly, the alarms went off. The Galactic Council had detected the anomaly, and they were coming. They had no idea what they were about to face. Ethan knew the fleet wasn't just a weapon. It was a statement, a declaration that Earth wasn't the weak, pathetic species the Council believed them to be. This fleet, these ships, were humanity's answer to the galaxy's scorn. The tide was about to turn, and the Galactic Council would regret underestimating Earth. As the systems came online, Ethan felt a surge of pride. Humanity wasn't done. It was only just beginning. The alarms blared throughout the council chamber, the sharp sound cutting through the air and halting the ongoing discussion. The once confident voices of the Galactic Council now dropped to anxious murmurs. The atmosphere, once filled with arrogance, shifted to one of nervous anticipation. Captain Ethan Drake's words had barely settled in the air when a massive display appeared before the council, highlighting the coordinates of Earth. The screen flickered with information, the red blip representing Earth's position glowing brighter as the data streamed in. A voice cut through the confusion, laced with tension. The anomaly. It's coming from Earth. It's growing stronger. The leader of the council, a towering insectoid named Zarnok, stood up, his many eyes narrowing. "What do you mean, growing stronger?" His voice was calm, but the flicker of concern in his tone betrayed him. A technician rushed to the console, his hands trembling as he scanned the incoming data. "It's not just a signal, sir. It's a massive fleet. The energy signatures match the patterns of advanced warships, ancient warships." The room fell silent as the gravity of the situation began to settle in. The Galactic Council had always seen Earth as an insignificant, primitive world. But now, it seemed that something far greater was at play. Something they hadn't anticipated. Zarnok's mandibles clicked in irritation, his many legs shifting uneasily. Impossible. The humans cannot have developed anything of this magnitude. Their ships are outdated, primitive. But the data didn't lie. The ships were old, but their energy signatures were unmistakable. These were not the weak, pitiful vessels the Council had dismissed. They were massive, and their firepower unmatched. The technician continued to speak, his voice growing more frantic. "We've confirmed it. There are hundreds of ships, all old, but the weapons systems, they're beyond anything we've encountered. A ripple of unease passed through the council. The leaders of the various alien empires exchanged uneasy glances. They had mocked humanity for centuries, dismissing Earth's fleet as a joke. But now, it seemed that their assumptions had been horribly wrong. "I told you," Captain Ethan's voice echoed in Zarnak's mind. The memory of Ethan's defiance lingered, like a shadow they couldn't shake. He had warned them, but no one had listened. Earth had been underestimated, and now, the council was about to pay the price. Zarnak slammed a clawed fist onto the table. "We cannot let this stand. The humans must be put in their place. If they think they can threaten us with ancient ships, they are gravely mistaken. Deploy the fleet. We'll show them that the galaxy belongs to us." The orders were immediate. The council had built a formidable armada over the years, each fleet more powerful than the last. But even as they prepared to launch their ships, a sense of doubt lingered in the air. How could something so old, so forgotten, pose such a serious threat? The Galactic Council's fleet began to assemble, the massive ships powered up and ready for action. Their sleek designs gleamed in the coldness of space, their weapons systems calibrated for war. They were confident that victory would be swift. After all, they had crushed many civilizations before. What were a few ancient ships from a primitive world compared to the might of the galaxy's greatest forces? But they were forgetting one crucial detail. The humans had something they didn't: the will to fight, the will to survive. And now, humanity's hidden fleet was awakening, ready to prove that Earth was not to be underestimated. On Earth, Ethan Drake stood in the command center, his fingers moving over the console as he monitored the fleet's progress. He had sent a signal to Earth's government, informing them of what was coming. They had no time to waste. The Galactic Council was already mobilizing. But now the ancient fleet was ready. The warships, hidden for so long, were coming back online, their engines humming with life once more. Ethan watched as the first ship in the fleet powered up, its ancient weapons systems coming to life with a low rumble. These weren't the sleek, modern ships that Earth's current forces had used. No, these ships were older, but they were built for a different kind of war. They were stronger, more durable, and far more advanced than anything the Galactic Council had ever seen. As the fleet began to assemble, Ethan couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity wasn't going to back down. The Council had pushed them too far, mocked them for too long. Now, it was time for the galaxy to see what Earth was truly capable of. Back in the council chamber, the mood was tense. The display showed the approaching fleet of Earth's ancient warships, slowly moving toward their position. The Galactic Council had underestimated humanity's resolve, and now they were about to face the consequences. Zarnak paced in front of the council, his mind racing. "Prepare to engage. We will not allow these ships to threaten our dominance. Activate all weapons. Deploy all fleets. Show them that the Galactic Council is not to be trifled with." But even as Zarnak barked orders, doubt gnawed at him. These ships, ancient though they were, couldn't possibly be the real threat. Could they? The Council had dismissed them as irrelevant, as relics of a bygone era. Yet now, they were all too real, and they were coming for them. Ethan's fleet moved silently, their engines purring with the rhythm of a well-oiled machine. There was no turning back now. The Galactic Council had mocked them. They had belittled humanity, and now it was time to show them what Earth was truly capable of. As the two forces drew closer, the tension in the galaxy reached its breaking point. The Council's ships, sleek and powerful, stood poised to strike, while humanity's ancient fleet surged forward, its warships ready for battle. The first strike would be crucial. It would determine whether the Galactic Council's arrogance would be its downfall, or if humanity's fight for survival would prove that Earth was no longer the weak, insignificant planet they once thought it was. In the cold vastness of space, the stage was set. The galaxy was about to witness the beginning of a battle that would reshape everything. The Galactic Council had made a mistake, and now The humans were ready to show them the true power of Earth's hidden legacy. The silence of space was broken by the sudden eruption of energy as the Earth's fleet surged forward. Captain Ethan Drake stood at the helm of the flagship, his eyes locked on the holographic map in front of him. The Galactic Council's forces were only moments away, their ship sleek and ominous, but Ethan didn't flinch. This was humanity's moment to strike back, to prove that they were no longer the weak, insignificant planet the galaxy had long thought them to be. All ships, prepare for battle. Ethan's voice rang out across the comms, calm yet filled with authority. He had seen the power of Earth's ancient fleet, and he knew that the Council's arrogance would be their downfall. These ships, though old, were survivors, built for a different kind of war. Their armor was thick, their weapons powerful, and their crews, the best humanity had ever known. As Ethan's words echoed through the fleet, the warships hummed with life, their engines coming to full power. The long-forgotten fleet, hidden for so long, was now awake and ready to fight. The ships moved with precision, each one part of a carefully orchestrated plan. No longer would Earth be underestimated. Humanity would fight with everything they had. On the bridge of the flagship, the crew worked in perfect sync, their hands flying over consoles as they activated the ancient weapon systems. Energy shields flickered to life, glowing a brilliant blue, while massive cannons slowly rotated into position. The Galactic Council's ships were approaching, and there was no turning back. "Target the lead ship," Ethan ordered. The first blast was crucial, a message to the Galactic Council that Earth would not be easily defeated. The massive cannon on the flagship powered up, the energy swirling inside it, ready to unleash a devastating strike. The first shot rang out across space, a beam of pure energy that cut through the void, striking the lead ship in the heart. The explosion was massive, sending debris and flames scattering into space. The Council ship, once so proud, was reduced to nothing more than a floating wreck. The first victory for humanity. Direct hit. The crew cheered, but Ethan remained focused, his eyes scanning the incoming threat. The Council's fleet was far larger, their numbers overwhelming, but that didn't matter now. They had made a statement. Humanity was no longer a joke. The Galactic Council's ships retaliated swiftly, launching volleys of laser fire. The blasts lit up the dark expanse of space, but the Earth fleet's shields held strong. Ethan watched as the ships around him took evasive maneuvers, expertly dodging the incoming fire. They were ready for this. The ancient fleet may have been dormant for centuries, but the warriors piloting them were veterans of countless battles. They had the experience, the will, and the determination to win. "Return fire," Ethan commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around him. The Earth fleet responded in kind, unleashing a barrage of energy blasts that slammed into the Council's ships. The sound of explosions echoed across the battlefield as Earth's fleet pressed forward, not retreating an inch. One of the smaller Council ships tried to make a break for it, attempting to flank Ethan's flagship, but it didn't get far. The burst of fire from a nearby destroyer sent it spiraling out of control, its engines disabled. The Galactic Council's arrogance was starting to falter, their superior firepower not enough to overwhelm the human fleet. Ethan's heart raced as the battle raged on, his eyes never leaving the display. The Council had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. The tide was turning, slowly but surely. The Earth fleet had the upper hand. As the flagship moved deeper into the fray, Ethan couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. His people were fighting with everything they had, and they were winning. The Galactic Council had made a fatal mistake in underestimating Earth. They had thought humanity was weak, but they had no idea what they were up against. Another powerful blast rocked the flagship, shaking the entire ship. The crew scrambled to stabilize the ship, but Ethan remained calm. "Keep going. We're not stopping now," he said, his voice unwavering. His crew responded immediately, their focus sharp as ever. The Council's forces were starting to scatter. The once coordinated assault was now a chaotic retreat, their ships flying in all directions, trying to evade the onslaught from Earth's fleet. Ethan watched as one of the larger destroyers went down, its hull cracking open under the force of a well-placed shot. It was a victory, but Ethan knew there was still much work to be done. The Earth fleet pressed on, undeterred by the Council's desperate attempts to regroup. The tide of battle had shifted, and the humans weren't about to let it slip away. They had fought too hard for this moment, too long in the shadows. Now they were standing in the light, and the galaxy would never forget it. With each passing minute, the Galactic Council's fleet was decimated, their ships falling one by one. The ancient warships of Earth, once thought to be relics of a forgotten age, were proving to be the most formidable force in the galaxy. The Council had thought they could crush humanity with ease, but they had underestimated the one thing they could never conquer: the human spirit. Ethan's mind raced as he watched the battle unfold. The Council's ships were now fleeing, their once proud armada reduced to a scattered mess of debris and wreckage. Earth had struck back with the full force of its hidden fleet, and the Galactic Council had been humbled. "We did it," Ethan whispered under his breath. But he knew that the battle wasn't over. There would be more to come. The Council would regroup, and they would learn from their mistakes. But today, humanity had made its stand. Today, the galaxy would know that Earth was no longer to be underestimated. As the last of the Council's ships retreated into the depths of space, Ethan stood tall, his eyes watching the stars. The fight wasn't over yet, but humanity had struck a blow that would echo through the galaxy for centuries to come. The Galactic Council would never forget this day, and neither would the rest of the universe. And in the heart of space, humanity stood victorious. The vast emptiness of space had become a stage for one of the greatest battles the galaxy had ever seen. In the wake of Earth's incredible victory, the Galactic Council was reeling. The arrogance they had displayed by mocking humanity, by dismissing Earth as a backwater planet, now seemed like a grave mistake. The tide of war had shifted in favor of the underdog, and the Council was scrambling to figure out what went wrong. On the bridge of their flagship, the Council's high command convened, their faces grim with disbelief. They had underestimated humanity's resilience and cunning, and now they had to face the consequences. The fleet that had once been so confident, so sure of its dominance, was in tatters. The ancient Earth warships had proven to be far more powerful than anyone had imagined, their weapons devastating and their crews unyielding. Even the advanced technology of the Galactic Council seemed powerless against the might of Earth's hidden fleet. Commander Varric, one of the Council's most trusted leaders, stood at the center of the room, his fists clenched, his sharp features twisted in anger as he glared at the holographic display of the battle. The human fleet had been relentless, striking with precision and force, catching them off guard at every turn. Their energy shields had held up longer than expected, and their weapons had torn through the Council's ships with ease. "This is impossible," Varric muttered under his breath. "How could we have been so blind? They'd been hiding this power all along." A voice interrupted his thoughts. "The humans must have had this fleet for centuries," said a senior officer, her voice filled with both fear and awe. "But we never detected it. We assumed they were a primitive species, no threat at all." Varric slammed his fist onto the console in front of him, the sound echoing through the room. "We were wrong. This is not a simple mistake. This is a catastrophe. We've allowed them to survive, to build, to strengthen. And now, they've retaliated with everything they've got." The tension in the room was palpable. The Council's high command had never faced such humiliation. They had wiped out entire civilizations with ease, but now they had been brought to their knees by a planet they had considered insignificant. The humans, with their unremarkable technology and seemingly weak military, had turned the tables, leaving the Council with no choice but to regroup and find a way to finish what they had started. "We need to retaliate," said Varric, his voice cold with determination. "This war is far from over. The humans have tasted victory, but they will regret it. We'll send everything we have left. We'll crush them. But another officer, the strategist of the council, spoke up, his voice hesitant. Retaliation might not be the answer. The humans are more resourceful than we thought. If we strike back recklessly, we risk losing everything. Varric's eyes narrowed. So what do you suggest? We do nothing. I'm not saying that, the strategist replied quickly. But we need to rethink our approach. The humans are more powerful than we realized. If we attack them head-on again, we risk another defeat. Perhaps it's time to play a different game. The room fell silent as the officers considered the strategist's words. Varric was clearly frustrated, but there was a flicker of doubt in his eyes. They had underestimated humanity before, and now they had no idea how to proceed. Meanwhile, on Earth, the people were celebrating their unexpected victory. The warships had returned to Earth's orbit, their crews hailed as heroes. The battle had been brutal, but humanity had triumphed against overwhelming odds. The entire planet was united in a sense of pride, knowing that they had taken down a power far greater than their own. Captain Ethan Drake stood on the deck of the flagship, looking out at the stars. It had been a long fight, and there was no guarantee that it was over. The Galactic Council was still out there, regrouping, planning. They had made a fatal mistake in underestimating humanity, and now they were likely plotting their revenge. But Ethan wasn't worried. The humans had proven their strength. They had faced the Council's might and stood tall. The ancient fleet, once thought lost to time, had become the cornerstone of their survival. The victory had not been without cost, but it had been worth it. Prepare for whatever comes next, Ethan ordered his crew, his voice steady. We're not done yet. The Council will come for us again, and when they do, we'll be ready. The crew nodded, their faces determined. They had fought for their survival, and now they would fight for the future of humanity. The Galactic Council had made the mistake of thinking they could crush Earth easily. They had underestimated the power of a united human race. Now, humanity would ensure that they never made the same mistake again. Back on the Galactic Council's flagship, Varric paced the room, his mind racing. He knew they couldn't afford to make the same mistake again. The humans had revealed a power that the Council had not anticipated, and they were not about to sit back and let that go unanswered. The next move would be critical. We'll need to regroup, Varric said, his voice grim. We'll call in reinforcements. If we strike now, we must strike with everything we have. We cannot afford another failure. The officers nodded, each of them realizing the gravity of the situation. This was no longer just a battle for control. It was a fight for survival. The Galactic Council had made a fatal mistake by underestimating Earth, and now they had to find a way to fix it. The humans had proven themselves, and they had earned their place in the galaxy. The Council, however, would not go down easily. The next phase of the war would be even more dangerous, and the outcome uncertain. But one thing was clear: humanity's rise was no accident, and the Galactic Council would soon learn that the greatest mistake they had ever made was thinking they could conquer Earth without consequence. And so, the stage was set for a new chapter in the war between Earth and the Galactic Council, a war that would shape the fate of the galaxy forever.